Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, traders. How are we, wherever you are in the world? Excuse me. Hope you're well, guys. Hope you're having a good trading week. And yeah, hope you didn't miss me too much yesterday, because we're just doing live streams on Tuesday and Thursday now. Wednesday, we are holding a live stream in our Discord. So if you want to come join that, you can please join our free Discord. So guys, what we're going to do during the live stream, we are going to look at a couple of new trades I am in. Two of them I am still in. One of them I got out early, and we shall see why. We're also going to see how all my other trades got on. If you remember my last stream, we entered about 6 trades on Monday. So we'll do a quick recap and see how they went. But basically, guys, they all went bloody well. So yeah, we're going to look at that, guys. We're also going to take as many of your questions as humanly possible. So yeah, please leave as many questions as you like. I can see we've got questions coming in already, so that is wonderful. And also, guys, let's excuse me. Let's take a quick look at the economic calendar, because this was some of the reasons why I entered a pound US dollar long, right? And we'll explain this in a minute. But basically, guys, today we had nothing but bad news coming out of the pound, of the UK, should I say. And that's pretty much all the main news we've had today. We do have initial jobless claims later and existing home sales on the US dollar. And I am interested in these because I am in pound US dollar. But I'm going to explain my pound US dollar trade to you anyway. Before I do, guys, let me just show you on Discord quickly, because you want to see all of my trades this week. So we discussed Euro Pound, Euro CAD. We was in the US dollar pairs. They have been ripping down. So US dollar CAD sell, US dollar yen sell, profit, Euro Canadian dollar profit, Canadian dollar Swiss franc. I got out for a small profit. Turned out to be a good decision. And then these 3 are the trades I've got into yesterday and today. So New Zealand yen, pound Canadian sell, and pound US dollar sell. And you can see here I got out of New Zealand dollar yen early. All right, and we're going to understand why that is. And as always, guys, if you want all of these trades, please come join the Discord channel and you can have them. Sorry, TikTokers, because we are live streaming on TikTok soon. You can't see that. But yeah, I was just showing the Discord, guys, so come join it. Right, where should we start then? Let's start with pound US dollar. Let me have a drink of coffee because I still have a frog in my throat. And yeah, the pound US dollar I am selling, right? So why am I selling? I have deemed this level, that level right there, significant enough to become a low. So that is a higher low, right? Why? Because we've had a big enough reaction from it and we broke it. So for me, guys, we're now seeing lower highs, lower lows, right? And you can see my stop loss is above this high here. Right? I've given this trade plenty of room. So for me, pound US dollar is in a daily downtrend. Okay, and we have this nice big bearish candle form yesterday as well, right, at these highs. And if we look at the weekly chart, now weekly, there is an argument for buying or selling, right? There is, but daily is definitely a sell trade for me. But if you look at pound US dollar on the weekly, this is where we're at, right? We're getting higher lows. Yeah, higher highs. However, you know, we are at this key resistance level, right? And ever since we've hit that level, right, you can see sellers come in, you know, quite dramatically. And this is, this is really a bit more of a bullish candle than it is bearish because of this wick. But because of that daily downtrend, and we're coming off of this resistance level, I was willing to take sells. Okay. So now if we drop down to the H4, right, you can also see that we was in this uptrend and we stopped making higher highs, right? Bit of a red flag. And have we broke this low? Yeah, like the body of this candle the body of that candle has broke it. However, we do have these wicks that do create a little bit of confusion at that level. Okay, but I do like daily. I do like the weekly level we're trading from. Now, what was the clinching factor for this trade? Was the news that I've just shown you, right? So this pound news was pretty terrible, right? GDP, right? If we get 2 consecutive months where we have, sorry, this is year on year. So month on month, we actually stayed the same. But if you do get 2 month on month decreases in GDP, right, we're, technically entering a recession. But quarter on quarter, we've gone down as well. All right, all bad figures. And yesterday, if we look at the US dollar data that came out, right, pretty much all green, right? All the important ones just green, 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 right? And look at that non-farm payrolls figure, right? Now, if you think about that for a second, as you know, guys, I am not a fundamentalist, right? I'm a technical trader, but I'm not going to ignore the data that's just been released. That data is fact, right? Now, looking at that data, it was bad for the pound and bad for the, British economy, and the other data was good for the American economy. Now, how does that impact the pound and the dollar? So generally speaking, the job of a central bank or a Fed is to heat up the economy or cool it down. And their main tool to do that is the interest rate, right? So those American figures were all good, right? Now, because they're good, in order to heat up the economy, you would decrease the interest rate, right? Decreasing the interest rate, you would normally see a tick up in the indices, right? It's good for the economy. But if you're getting good figures coming out of America, you do not need to lower the interest rate. And the interest rate, okay, if the interest rate lowers, okay, this means that the dollar becomes weaker as well, right? But they don't need to decrease the interest rate. Whereas the pound, all the news was bad, and maybe they do need some stimulus for the economy, and therefore they would decrease the interest rate. And if you decrease an interest rate, it's generally bearish for pound. If you increase the interest rate, it would be bullish for pound. So those figures are leading towards an interest rate decrease, whereas those American figures weren't, right? I hope that made sense. I'm not a fundamentalist, but that's general economics, right? So there you go, guys. That was another factor that came into this pound US dollar sell trade. So this is it, and this is where we are at. I'm also in pound Canadian dollar sells, right? So this is a bit more straightforward, guys, really. We're clearly, so we was in this uptrend where we was obeying this trend line, okay? And we was actually in a downtrend here, but then bang, we was in an uptrend, and now we're not, okay? As soon as we broke that low, we was in a downtrend, and we've broken this trend line. So that's like double whammy support breaking. Not sure if that's a term. Let me have some coffee. So yeah, so we're in a downtrend. We're getting bearish candles, right? Buyers tried to come back in and just look sellers. Sellers are like, no, I'm not having it. Even yesterday's candle, right? Big wick rejection. And then if we drop down to the H4, guys, right, we're still with H4 structure. Okay, so we came down. We was in this, yeah, I'm going to say this, and this is where we're at, right? We're getting lower highs, right? Lower lows. We're in a downtrend. And yeah, just basically, you know, a pullback. I'm always talking about a pullback into value, right? That's how I roll. And that's what we got, right? Actually, you know, I had this level marked up, started selling here, stopped well out of the way above here, and we're in pound Canadian dollar sells as well. The last one, guys, let me just show you New Zealand yen. This is a trade I got out of and probably wishing I didn't, but I'm not wishing I didn't. The reasons I got out of this trade were solid, right? So let me explain. So when I got into this trade, let me go back a couple of days, right? The market looked like this. Okay, so we was in an uptrend, yeah, even that, right? And we'd come down and I had pinpointed these lows, right? I was like, if I get a reaction at these lows in an uptrend, I will take this trade, right? Okay, if we go down to the H4 now, okay, you can see if I play this along, let's not do it too quickly. If I play this along, right, there you go, okay? So this was actually my trade off of this candle here, this green candle. Okay, started entering here. My stops were actually, yeah, so my stops were down here. Started entering on this candle here, stops below here, right, and looking to take it up to here. But as soon as we started coming below this level, I was concerned because if we look at the daily chart now, for me, we had a structure break, and that is a big reason, and that's a daily structure break. We broke that low with this candle. So that's why I was just trying to get out of this candle, this trade as quickly as I could. And I ended up getting out around here, right, for about a 0.5% loss. If we go back to real time, right, it's coming up nicely now. But, you know, I don't regret the decision. The decision to get out of this trade early was built upon price action and a daily structure break, right? So, yeah, no problem whatsoever. Happy to take a small loss on this trade. Yeah, and that's me, guys. That's everything up to speed. Yeah, what do you want to talk about? Right, let's have a look at a few of the questions. I'm having one of them days, guys. I tell you what, I've had a bit, you know, when you have a pretty bad day, right? So this is going to sound quite trivial, but I literally, just before the live stream, dropped the digestive in my coffee. You know, when you dip it too long and then it breaks off, you're like, you know, it's like being whipped out of a trade and then it goes back in your direction. It's that bad. And then also I had a bloke come round to fix my curtains or new curtains, and he's managed to chip a massive section of the wall out, so much so he's had to come back with filler, and what was going to be like an hour job was about 3 hours. So I'll be getting him back. Anyway, I need to share these things, guys. It's important. Right. Let's say hello to a few people. Mike, how are you? We've got a very long question here. Hey, bro, just wanted to show some real support for your stream. I can connect with you with a top switch streamer who streams to thousands. Okay, yeah, if you want to do that, you do it. Luigi, how are you? From Aleko, hello, Mr. Tom. I just wanted to ask, if you were to execute a trade on the 1 hour, what would you like to see first on the 4 hour? Okay, all right, interesting question. So generally speaking, if you think of any system like this, right? So if I'm going to execute, right, on the H4, right, however I execute, I am going to go a time frame up, which is the daily. And the daily is going to be direction. So, you know, like pound US dollar, my daily direction was a sell trade. And then I'm looking at the H4 to find a sell trade. So if I'm looking at the H1, right, I'm generally going to be looking at what the H4 direction is doing. So if H4 is in a downtrend, my H1 trade will follow that trend. Okay. So if we go back to my pound US dollar trade, right, because I'm in this, okay, and I've just entered, and this was, you know, a daily stroke H4 entry, right? Now let's drop down to the, and again, you know, I am seeing a break of these lows, especially with this candle and this candle. We've broken that low. So H4 is in a downtrend. Now let's drop down to the H1, right? Now, what do I want to see? Not this, right? For me, we have just had a H1 structure break, right? So if I was, my entry time frame was the H1, I'm looking for a sell trade. Right now would not be it, right? So two things can happen with this price action, right? Maybe this happens and then we get a break, right? Something like this on the H1, right? We would still be with H4 trend at this point, right? I would be happy to sell, right? If I was entering on the H1, I'd put my stops above here as well, the last high, right? And look to take it lower. Or, you know, it could look like this, right? Let's say H4 does come storming down. At this point, we're still in a H1 uptrend. But maybe if we get a break of these lows through here, maybe if we get something that looks like this, H1 is now with H4 trend, right? Maybe a retest, and then we can start selling in here. So that's how I would trade. I would use the H4 for direction and the daily, to be honest, and just wait for H1 trend and structure to follow the higher time frames. So hope that helps. Yeah, Brett, right, get your questions over to Tom. Can I just say a little congratulations to Brett, one of our in-house traders, passed a prop firm challenge using our DS1 strategy, which is part of our price action pro indicator. So yeah, we've had a few guys in there now using our indicator, passing prop firm challenges, right? If you don't believe me, go into our Discord and just see all the certificates, right? People are passing prop firms for fun using that indicator. Yeah, so go check it out, guys. It's all, you know, anything you're interested in, go check out the Discord, guys. The link's in the video description, and check out the website. The website has access to all of our premium trading education. All right, and you can see those above my head. If you're on TikTok, you can't. But yeah, go join the Discord if you're on TikTok too. Right, what else are we looking at then, guys? Right, I'm just going to ask a general afternoon, Tom. How's the week going? Yeah, a good week, CJ. We're up about a little bit over 3% this week. So yeah, the trading's going well. My curtain fiasco and my biscuit in my coffee, not so good. Okay, what else are we going into? Okay, so we've got loads of people. Yeah, it's my camp cloud. I tried to get it in rainbow colors, but couldn't. Right, we've got lots of questions, guys, right? So let's just start at the top. Right, Beshu wants to look at New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. And Beshu, what are your thoughts on New Zealand Swiss franc? Are you looking to sell or buy? So happy to share what I think, guys, but also let me know what direction you're looking at. Say, you know, I'm looking at New Zealand Swiss franc buys or sells. What do you think? So again, let's apply the same logic that I do to every chart, every morning, every day, every week, right? You get the idea. I do the same shit day after day. And when I say shit, that sounds like I don't enjoy it. I love analyzing a chart, right? Hence, I'm on here analyzing charts. Yeah. So, you know, it's such a challenge trading, right? It's like a game almost, right? It's a game that you're trying to figure out, and it's not an easy game, which is why I like it, right? You get very bored of something that is very easy. But ultimately, you want trading to become not easy. Easy is not the right word, but you want it to become methodical, simple, the same, right? A bit boring, if you like, every day, right? If you're trading for kicks, get out. No, I'm only joking. You don't have to get out. But yeah, you know, that's how I like it, guys, right? That I'm not talking about everything in my life. You know, I'm not a total boring git outside of trading. Maybe a little bit. Oh, I can still taste the remnants of my biscuit. Right, guys, New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. So it's scruffy, right? We were in an uptrend when we broke that level. And now we're kind of here, right? I mean, it's just been very choppy. So between here and here, I'm not really interested. That is, you know, the technical term for that is crap price action. You know, even if I did want to buy it, I do not want to buy into a resistance level. And even if I did want to sell it, I don't want to sell a massively bullish candle like that. So I don't think there's any further need to go any further, to be quite honest. New Zealand Swiss franc is a no trade. For me to get interested, right, we get a break this way, or we get a break this way, right? And then I really like these trades. I really like it when you get a market do this, right? Maybe it's in an uptrend, maybe it's ranging or whatever, but you get to a point and it does this, right? I like this because when you do get a move, it's gonna be quite forceful, right? Because you've got buyers and sellers, right, fighting it out. You're in this area here, you've got no winners. And then if you do get a break, winners have taken over. If you do get a break this way, sellers have taken over. And then I'm very interested. But when you're within that, not interested. You know, you could flip a coin, you could buy or sell, really. So New Zealand Swiss franc, I would stay away for those reasons. Also, guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button and smash the like button. And I'm going to show you this one more time, guys, because this finishes on the 15th of February. We will never do this promotion again. I promise you. I know people say that, but we never will. But if you want to, you know, if January 2026, sorry, is the year where you really want to take trading seriously and learn from all my experiences, my strategies, my knowledge, then please go check out this promotion. Traders, it's 2026, and if you're here, then I'm sure you want to make this the year where you start trading like a pro and start achieving real consistency and real results. Right now, there is 50% off the Simply Forex complete trading course, jam-packed with almost 20 years of my trading experiences, skills, strategies, and tools. And if that's not enough, Once you have completed the course, you will get 2 one-hour mentorship sessions with me, Trader Tom, included in the price. This offer finishes on the 15th of February, so don't delay. Click on the link in the vid description and use the code at checkout. Right, welcome back, guys. Right, we've got Andrea here saying pound US dollar short. Yes, I am in a pound US dollar short. Okay, Mike, pound Swiss franc. I like pound Swiss franc sells. Okay, might have missed the opportunity here. But again, let's take a look at this one. So pound Swiss franc sells was actually one of my trade ideas, which I share in the Discord. Right now, as you can see, we are in a downtrend. Right. Again, you don't need to be Warren Buffett. Lower highs, right? Lower lows. We're in a downtrend. Do we have a bit more room to move into? Yeah, probably, right? I would say back down to there, possibly this 1.04 thousand psychological level, right? And also Swiss franc is a flight to safety. If those indices start having a bit of a sell-off, you're going to see some strength in the Swiss franc as well, right? That's all ifs and buts, though. I don't deal in ifs and buts. There's a joke in there. I don't want to go there, right? So let's deal in the facts, right? And the facts are this: we're in a downtrend, right? This isn't yesterday's candle. Let's zoom in a little bit. Yesterday's candle isn't exactly bearish, but we have had a top wick rejection, right? That is clear, okay? And now look, we're getting sellers strongly into the market. So I'm very much interested in selling pound Swiss franc, right? Let's have a quick look at the weekly. Yeah, the weekly's a bit indifferent for the last couple of weeks, right? But now we're breaking lower. Like I say, we've got that room down to here. All right. If we drop down to the H4 now, yeah, I mean, look, you can see where I had my alarm because we kind of started pushing up a little bit. Right, I was going to just enter this trade. If price had continued up here, where my alarm was, I would have just started selling. I wouldn't have waited for any bearish candle, right? Not in this situation. I'd have put my stop well out of the way, and I would have looked to taking it lower. Right now, that hasn't happened. Okay. And we've had a big bearish red candle. So yes, Mike, I can see 100% why you're taking this trade, right? And I know Mike uses the indicator, right? So yeah, we've got this bearish candle, right? So yeah, I can see this very much being a sell trade. I would like to see that low broken. Let's have a quick look on the H1 to see if it is. Yeah, that's broken. So we've had we've broken that level, right? I think we can at least come back down to these lows, right? If not a bit further. So yeah, I like this trade, Mike. Like I say, I just didn't get that pullback that I was looking for, but now it is breaking down. I might look for a pullback into here, right? So let me drag this down. Okay. Then if that alarm goes off, I could be interested in that. It'll be interesting to see how this H4 candle finishes, right? Now, H1 has broken that low, right? But if this candle finished like this, H4 hasn't broken that low. So that's interesting, right? So we've still got what we got. Yeah, we've still got another hour and a half for that candle to finish forming. So this H4 candle is important. Yeah, if you are in the trade, you really want to see a bearish candle that breaks that low. But yeah, I like pound Swiss franc sells, Mike. Dan Laguna, how are we? because you've got 2 games in fantasy football this week, so I have bought in Kyriakos, whatever his name is, your striker, and I've made him captain. So I apologise, he will probably get no points now. Right, could you have a butchers at Euro Aussie dollar? Yes, I can. For people who don't know what butchers means, it means have a look. So yes, we can. Let's have a look at. So immediately, without even looking at Euro Aussie dollar, it is extremely overextended to the downside. Right, let's go to Euro Aussie dollar. Let's look at the day chart. Right, look at that. Seriously overextended. Remember, this cloud, right, that is the mean of the market, right? So basically what this tells us, if we're far away from this level, things are very overextended, right? I do not need the RSI to tell me that, although the RSI I'm pretty sure would be below 30, right? It's just another indicator that tells you if things are overbought or oversold, right? Now this is very oversold. Could it go lower? Yeah, of course it could, right? I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is it's overextended, and I do not want to start selling down here. Just not interested. If we look at the weekly as well, I mean, it's even more overextended on the weekly, right? Now, again, it could do this for the next 3 years. Highly unlikely. It will probably have a pullback to the river, right, to the cloud. But this is where we're at, right? So I'm not interested in selling it, and I'm definitely not interested in buying it, right? You know, downtrend, big bearish candle, not interested in buying that in the slightest. But no value, I'm not interested in selling it. If price starts pulling back into here, right, and we get the river catch up, right, I'm interested. But right now, yeah, there's just no value. Let's have a look at the H4. Even if the H4 pulled back to here, which we know is a good level, still not interested. It's just too overextended, although we are clearly in a H4 downtrend as well. Yeah, there's just, you know, a very important part of my trading is there value in the trade, right? You know, it's like anything, you know, if you know, do you want to start, you know, would you rather sell here, or would you rather sell in here somewhere, right? You know, I know I'm not teaching you how to suck eggs, guys. You know, the answer's obvious, but it's that value that's so important to me, because value does 2 things, right? So let's imagine we're on the daily chart. Well, we are on the daily chart. Let's not imagine it. Let's have a look, right? And we pull back to here, right? And our cloud comes down, okay? Now, if I start selling in there, there's the last high. I'll put my stop loss there, right? And then we have all of this room to travel into, and this makes a pretty good target, right? So that's what a retrace does. Gives you a tighter stop loss, and it gives you a nice target to aim for, which is the previous low. And obviously it gives you value, right? You're getting in at a better price. Now, if I start selling here, right, I'm just looking at the daily chart, I still have to put my stop loss above here. Then all of a sudden, for me to hit target, I've got to move a very long distance, right? And you don't really have a target. You know, when a market does this and breaks that low, obviously we can look left, right? And we can find support in a downtrend, right? But, you know, it's not as clear as this, right? We're in a downtrend. We've made this last low, and it's a recent level. We start selling in here. That is a very clearly defined target, right? And we take it back down. So I really like a pullback because it gives you that last low to trade into. Whereas if we've broken that last low, I'm not saying you're in, I'm not saying there isn't a target, but it's less clear, right? You're relying on support potentially from days or weeks ago, right? So yes, that's what I'm seeing there, guys. Yes, I'm going to get a t-shirt made up with this on. The art of dipping biscuits can be as tricky as trading. I agree. There's a lot of cloud jokes here today. There's a lot of, yeah, my cloud is a little camp, and that's how I like it. Yes, yeah, don't talk to me about my wall. It was a lovely wall, a lovely crisp wall, and now it has bits fallen off it just by putting a curtain up. Anyway, don't get me started, Lee. I will break down. Right, what else we're looking at? Okay, so Beshu, yeah, all right. So Beshu thinks New Zealand Swiss francs a buy. We discussed that. I would not be buying into that resistance, Beshu. Okay, and Mayo, thank you, Tom. You're very welcome. I always enjoy a thank you. No problem. Good manners. Trading is a game of liquidity sweep. Yes, and I am Dale Winton today. Is it Dale Winton? Yeah, the game show host. Yeah, think of me as the trading Dale Winton. Dear. A select few will get that reference. But it is liquidity sweep. I agree. Afternoon, Heath. How have you been? Yeah, good to see you. Kiokaris, I still can't pronounce his name. Don't do it, Tom. He absolutely stinks. Too late. He's in my dream team. Right, what else are we looking at? All right, guys. So, yeah, any more trading questions, please get them over to me. Let's take a quick look at my pound US dollar trade, my pound US dollar sell. Not much has happened, let's be honest. We've got that US dollar news coming out later, so that's probably where things will get moving. Pound Canadian dollar, not a lot happening. Yeah, and they're the trades I'm in at the moment. Okay. Beshu, I'm joining the VIP. Do it, Beshu. There's so much, knowledge. I'm not, you're probably thinking, oh, Tom, you're you're waxing lyrical, but there's a ridiculous amount of tutorials and knowledge in the VIP for the price we charge. There really is, if I do say so myself. Right, any more questions, guys? Let's take a look at precious metals. Actually, I know all of you like a bit of gold and a bit of silver. Before we do, if I could just ask everyone, if you want to support the channel and you want a world-class broker and you want access to the VIP and you want a Essential Trading Views subscription, then sign up with Pepperstone above my head. You will. We have a link right in the live stream, and you will get all of those things. Right. All you need to do is sign up with Pepperstone and open a live account. So do it. Right. Any more questions? Yes, that's what I need, guys. If anyone wants to send me a sparkling gold like suit jacket with dicky bow, I'll happily wear it and become a game show host for this stream. Totally off at random today. Right, 3, 2, 1, back in the room. What were we talking about? Right, let's have a look at precious metals. Let's have a look at the daily. So, yeah, this level is important, right? We haven't broke it. The Elton John of trade. It's getting worse. Gone from Dale Winton of trading to Elton John. So, guys, yeah, daily, from a daily point of view, if we broke this level, that is, a level where if we break, you like to think we would get back up to these highs, right? And if you just think of trading like that, right? This is support and resistance. This is support and resistance. This is support and resistance. This is support and resistance, right? Now, if you're in an uptrend, right, and price does this, right? Now you've broken this level, there's a good chance it's going to make it to that level, right? Long as you stay in an uptrend, right, it will make it up. Maybe it does this, and then we get this. Maybe you get that. Maybe you get this. It's scruffy. We know price action is not how the textbooks show you. But long as that trend persists, right, very strong probability you're going to make it to the next level. If that level breaks, you're going to make it to the next level, right? So that's what I'm talking about here, right? So if I put, I'm going to include that high because we haven't broke that level. So if we break this level, there's a strong probability we make it to this level. And it's the same with silver. There's a level there as well that I've already put in. We spoke about this maybe last week. And again, right, we are in a downtrend. We actually broke that low, but price has come back up. It'll be interesting to see what happens at this level. But again, if we break this, I'm interested in buying, right? Silver's slightly different because daily has become a downtrend, right? You can see the low here has been broken with that candle. Now, if price comes back into this level and we get a big bearish reaction, I think it's a really nice sell trade back down to these lows. If we break this level, right, I think it's a nice buying opportunity back up to these highs. Now, obviously, what happens with US dollar will be, significant. Obviously, precious metals are against the US, or not against, but paired with the US dollar, right? So, yeah, we'll see. And just on the US dollar, US dollar is generally getting to a lot of support or resistance levels, right? So US dollar yen, right, we're at a support level here. Let's go to the next one, US dollar CAD, right? There's a support level in here, right? And if you look at the weeklies as well, right, we're selling down into these wicks now, right? Let's go to another one. Let's go to US dollar Swiss franc, right? Again, we are in this downtrend, but we're selling into these wicks. Is this the area where we start to see a bit of US dollar strength, right? If you look at any of the US dollar pairs, New Zealand dollar, US dollar, right? Weekly chart, we're at a key level. It'll be interesting to see how this week finishes, right? Any of them, right? Pound US dollar, we looked at earlier, but we've bounced off a key resistance level, right? Euro US dollar, right? These last highs are holding, right? What I'm showing you is, could this be the potential start of some US dollar strength? Excuse me. Well, and based on my pound US dollar sell trade, let's hope so. Mike says, right, the next time you're at the checkout and you hear the beep, think of the fun you could be having on supermarket sweep. I used to, I don't know if I was at university or something. And yeah, I used to watch a bit of that during the day, just to get into a bit of supermarket sweep. Anyway, there's a guilty pleasure I shouldn't be saying in public. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button and smash that like button. Don't forget the promo I showed you. If you want my course for half price plus 2 hours of mentorship, I will never do that again. I promise you that. Also, guys, please check out the website. Please come join the Discord, and please check out our promotion with Pepperstone. Everything you need to know are all in the links in the vid description. Guys, I'll see you. Well, come join me Saturday because I'll be doing my weekly Forex forecast, and then the next live stream will be on Tuesday. All right, guys, have a great rest of your week. Much love.